Do you hate cold calls? Look, most people hate them. We're going to cover here why people hate them. Why don't you like them? Why won't you like them in the future? Number one reason people hate cold calls is because they believe the entrepreneur, the salesperson, the business owner, the employee wants to believe there's an easier way to create leads. They come up with all these ideas. Let's advertise. Look, they don't even know who you are. You just started a company and you're going to start spending money on advertising rather than calling people that need a haircut or need a car or need your plumbing services or need your contracting, your insurance, or need to go to your network marketing company because they could actually make more money there, you know? Look, there's not an easier way to create leads. There's no shortcuts to creating leads. At some point, you have to pick up a phone or knock on a door and call on someone. There's not an easier way. Sorry. You know the old saying, everybody wants to go to heaven? Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to pay the ultimate price to go spend some time up there, okay? Everybody wants to win the lottery ticket. Oh, nobody wants to buy that ticket. Look, to win that lottery ticket, you have to buy that ticket, right? To make those extra sales, there's not an easier way than picking up that phone and calling someone or knocking on someone's door. Number two, look, you don't value your own time. You understand? You don't value your own time. So you're like, I'm going to drive across town to go see Mr. Johnson. I could have made 100 phone calls by the time you drive across town to see Mr. Johnson, who, by the way, is not even in today. We've all done that. Drive over there. I don't want to call him first because if I do, he's going to say, don't bother. And then you waste your time driving across town. And then you get home that night and your kid says, how'd you do today? And you're like, oh, it was a terrible day because Mr. Johnson wasn't in. And oh, woe is me and the world is so difficult and I'm so unlucky. Look, man, pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. I can make hundreds, 200 calls in a day in the period of time it takes you to go see a client. And then everybody complains because they're like, I called him. I made a cold call. And they were rude to me and hurt my feelings. Oh. Number three, your upbringing. Most of us were actually taught not to talk to strangers, not to impose on people, never to bother anyone. Oh, but go out and be successful. Look, how can you be successful if you won't talk to strangers, won't impose yourself on people, and you're not willing to bother someone? You want to be successful? You want to be the next Steve Jobs, the Warren Buffett, the Martha Stewarts? All three of those people, okay, have had to impose themselves into the marketplace. Oprah, you didn't think Oprah didn't have to impose herself, bother people, make a call to someone she didn't know? Absolutely she did. You want to be successful, you have to pay these prices. Number four, you don't make cold calls because you hate the idea of rejection. Man, I don't want anybody saying no to me. This is planet Earth. People will say no to you, even if you don't make the call. It is a ridiculous idea that you're not going to experience disappointment in your lifetime. Hopefully, you're going to experience big disappointments, not little teeny weeny ones. Without a full pipeline, you will always experience rejection. And if you don't continue to fill that pipeline up by making cold calls, you will continue to experience more and more rejection and more disappointment because rejection is not an emotional experience. Rejection is an indication, we definitely want this as a question, rejection is an indication that your pipeline is broken. Not that, oh, I'm hurt because they told me no. It's an indication when you have that experience that I don't have enough people in my pipeline. I'm too dependent on too small a number of people. Number five, you would rather spend money on advertising than actually go out and generate and drive your own traffic. This is a big problem that started in the 1960s when companies with TV, the advent of TV and radio, the explosion of TV and radio provided a lot of advertising, okay? Back in the 1900s, you had to go knock on door to door. There was no TV and no radio. There was no phone yet. You couldn't reach out and touch anyone at any time, right? So what we had to do at that time, you and I had to go out. We had to get on our horse and drive across villages. Jesus had to leave his own town to get his word out. See, today he'd use TV. He would use the internet, broadcast everywhere, stream to the world. See, you want to believe there's an easier, softer way today, which is advertising. Advertising for most companies is just a ridiculous, stupid waste of money because you're not willing to do the hard thing, which is knock on the door, pick up the phone, and call someone. Number six, because someone convinced you somewhere that cold cold calling doesn't work. Some old salesperson you work with or manager, that doesn't work, you know. It's a numbers game. You got to call 15 people to get one person on the phone. That doesn't work. By the way, that advice that you're getting from that person, show me their paycheck. I'd like to see their paycheck. I'd like to see their 1099. I'd like to see what they paid in taxes last year, last quarter. Some of these people have never paid taxes in their life because they don't produce any money, but they got all these ideas about what doesn't work. Look, you incorrectly access data to mean you should not make calls. By the way, you're incorrectly accessing and giving value to data from people that you should never, ever, ever receive data from. All right. When you get advice about anything in business, okay, and particularly this cold calling thing, access the data point. Who is giving you this information? Are they valuable? Are they trustworthy? Are they getting results in the marketplace? Just because a book comes out and says, quit making cold calls, it might be the title of that book because he wants to sell a book, not because it makes sense that you would make a cold call. Some point in your life, you will have to make this call. Sellers, 63%. This is something I saw on a website recently that suggests the facts are 63% of salespeople say cold calling is what they dislike about their jobs. 63. This is a guy trying to sell you on the idea that you should not make cold calls. So he comes up with this statistic that says 63% of salespeople say cold calling is what they hate most about their jobs. That's almost impossible because most people at a sales job never ever make a cold call. So of course they would dislike it. They don't do that. Right? That would leave 37% of the people saying, what? I love cold calls. I guarantee you I can't find 37 people in your city that like making cold calls. It's not about liking it any more than I like taking out the trash or pushing food through a garbage disposal. I don't like doing that. Okay? There's a lot of things I don't like to do. I'm trying to take care of my family though. 88%, here's another crazy fact for you. 88% of salespeople work at companies that consider prospecting is important. I don't even know what that means. 88% of salespeople work for companies that consider prospecting to be an important thing, but they don't want to make a cold call, okay? Buyers, 91% of buyers never respond to an unsolicited inquiry. This is a cold calling book that says it doesn't work. Cold calling doesn't work. He left out that it works on 9% of the people that actually would respond to an unsolicited inquiry. By the way, that would be 5 times better response than a direct mail campaign that was successful. 71% of buyers find cold calls annoying. That's right. 71% of people find a cold call annoying. You know, when I see that, I'm like, 29% of the people are waiting for me to call them. Half empty, half full. I don't know. I'm drinking the water is what I'm doing with it, okay? 88% of buyers will have nothing to do with people that call. 88% of people that are buyers will have nothing to do with a cold caller. That means 12% of the people would. 94% of buyers could not remember a single prospector or message they had received during the last 2 years. 94% of all buyers could not remember a single person that phoned, cold called, prospected, or a message that was left during the last 2 years. That means that I could call you today, call you back tomorrow, and you wouldn't even remember that I called you the day before. There's a tremendous opportunity, right? I could call you over and over and over again. 94% of the people wouldn't even remember I called yesterday. Look, don't believe everything you hear from people. Consider the source. Do you need to make cold calls? Are you willing to make that cold call? If that's what it took for you to blow your business up, explode your business, would you be willing to pick up a call to find 12% of the people that wanted to talk to you, to possibly introduce them to your product, your idea, your company, to get that investor? Would you be willing to do that? That's how I built 4 companies. You're going to have to confront this, okay? Don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe everything you see. You need to make the cold call to grow your business.